Hello class. For this particular upcoming class, I thought I'd clarify a few things for you. This particular chapter that we're getting into next, after supply and demand, is essentially going to be dealing with, it's chapter 4, it's economic efficiency, government price setting, and taxes. I think in this particular chapter, what is really significant is understanding the differences between a consumer surplus and a producer surplus. And you will find those differences in your readings between pages 110 and 114 of your book. The next thing for point 2, chapter 4, is look between pages 115 and 117, and that is going to basically be dealing with the efficiency of competitive markets. And here we're going to be looking at equilibrium in a competitive market and how that results in an economically efficient level of output where government surplus is going to be maximized. Between pages 117 and 125, we're going to be talking about government intervention in the market. Now, as you probably know, which you studied in macro, looking at GDP or Y, if you will, that is equal to C plus I plus G plus or minus net exports. And as you know, government is considered to be a viable force in the overall strength of our economy, using the G factor. So that being the case, we're going to be studying price floors and price ceilings as far as government is concerned. And a price floor, as you know, is a government attempt to help sellers by requiring that a price be above equilibrium price, whatever that is. So if equilibrium price is too low, the government will try to intervene to get sellers to produce beyond equilibrium. Governments sometimes attempt to aid buyers by requiring that a price be below equilibrium, which is better known as a price ceiling. So the economic effect of taxes would be the next thing we would look at, and that is between 125 and 131 in your book. And an economic effect on taxes is basically a tax on the sale of a good or service that is going to result in a reduction of economic efficiency. In your appendix of the book, they're going to look at quantitative demand and supply analysis. Not required, but something you may want to look into. And that follows up on page 141 to 145. And basically, it's going to get into how quantitative demand and supply analysis helps us to determine the overall efficiencies of the economy. Now, with or without government intervention, the economy is challenged. If we have too much government intervention, the economy won't be able to use what we call a free or open market trade system. Not enough government intervention, we have issues with market entry, with those that want to get into certain markets can't because of monopolistic situations. So some of the some of the key terms that you want to look into are black market, which I believe is on page 122 of your book, consumer surplus, which is on page 110, and deadweight loss on 117. It's important that you understand also on the same page, they talk about economic efficiency. What is economic efficiency? That is a market outcome in which the marginal benefit for consumers of the last unit that's produced is going to be equal to its marginal cost of production, and in which the sum of the consumer surplus and the producer surplus are both at maximum levels. You want to know what an economic surplus is, a marginal benefit, price ceiling, price floor, producer surplus, and a tax incidence. And it's on page 126 of your book, but a tax incidence is the actual division of the burden of a tax between buyers and sellers in a market. So this is what we're going to be covering this coming Thursday. I did not put the assignment up as yet for the following week. I think I'd want you to, that's going too far ahead, because that'll bring us probably beyond Thanksgiving week or into that week. So I just want you to focus on what is due for this coming Thursday's class. Outside of that, have a wonderful week. I will also be putting some YouTube videos once you click the reading, listening, and viewing of some of the concepts that we're talking about going into next week. That would be the week of the 14th, I believe. And they should be helpful for you. And that's what we'll be covering on Thursday. So again, the assignment won't be posted until later on in the week. Thank you. Have a great week.